If you've ever been told you have IBS, feel like your bloating won't go away, feel like you have constant brain fog, feel like you're absolutely inconsistent in the bathroom, and constantly feel sick, keep watching. This episode's for you. Nobody has time to feel like shit. However, those symptoms that I was listing out before were everything I was feeling and more. I was told that I have IBS, which really just means there's something going on in the gut. We don't know what it means, but it's gotta be in the gut. And that doesn't work for me. So how, when I'm having a kale and broccoli bowl for lunch and rice and fish for dinner, am I still feeling awful? Why, when I'm doing all the right things, do I still have IBS? I've mentioned food combining in just about every episode, and that's because food combining changed my cell structure, which totally changed me inside and out. When I started properly combining the foods that I was taking in and the order in which I was taking them in, everything changed. And because of that, it completely changed my energy levels. I had instant relief from all the chronic bloating I was dealing with, and my skin cleared up, amongst a few amazing things that happened. I felt my immune system get better, and that's because I was working with my body. Your gut microbiome is the ruler of everything. Seriously, your mental and physical health and immune functioning are all controlled by your guts. If your gut is out of whack, you will feel it in every sense of the word. And that's insane. So I'm here to put a halt to the madness and teach you about food combining, because it's the reason that I'm not suffering anymore, and either is my gut. It's also important for me to note that when you start incorporating food combining into your life, you will also feel the shift in your cells, because your cells are rebuilding into stronger, healthier cells, which is a process. Once you start properly food combining, you're loosening up old toxic matter in your system. And it's really important for this matter to find a way out, which is why this lifestyle is called the cleansing life. Cleansing is all about what goes out, not what goes in. So cleansing and getting colonics are a huge part of my life. And if you don't have access to a gravity colonic wherever you live, I'm going to link an enema bag in the show notes / description. First, I'm going to define food combining, and then I'm going to break down the 4 principles of food combining. Food combining is based on the premise that certain foods should and should not be paired together, and keeping in mind the order in which you take in those food groups. Food combining also increases nutrient absorption, so you're also maximizing the potential of all of the food that you're eating, assuming you're eating clean foods if you're here watching this video. The 4 basic principles of food combining are fruit alone in the morning before anything else, isolating animal proteins from starches, having raw leafy greens before anything cooked, and eating from lightest to heaviest. Let's do a simple breakdown of these principles. Fruit alone on an empty stomach. Fruit is the purest food group we can have. As humans, we're actually biologically adapted to have fruit. And fruit has the quickest transit time through the system, which means it digests like that. Fruit takes 20 to 30 minutes to digest in the system, with the exception of bananas and dried fruits, which take about 45 to 60 minutes. Number 2, isolating animal proteins from starches. The simplest way I can break this down is by saying that each of these food groups use different digestive juices to break food down in the system. Having them at the same time causes a traffic jam to the system, and neither food group gets digested properly. What happens next is that they both get clogged in the system, which causes gas, bloating, indigestion, and those foods ultimately get stored as fat because the body doesn't know what to do with them. Number 3, eating raw leafy greens before anything cooked, because raw leafy greens take a quicker amount of time to digest in the body than cooked foods, which are acidic by nature. In my interview with Gil Jacobs, he calls this principle of food combining the bulletproof vest for 2 reasons. 1, it aids the system in breaking down the cooked food that's to follow, actually cutting that time in half. And 2, if you're going to have an improperly combined meal, like, I don't know, sushi with a friend, having that raw leafy green before that will actually help aid the body in digesting that improperly combined food. Lastly, for structuring your meals from lightest to heaviest. And I like to save this for last because once you hear the other 3 principles, this one's pretty logical. We want to consume the foods that take the quickest to move through the body, i.e. fruits and raw leafy greens, before those heavier foods like animal proteins and starches. That way you won't have those dreaded symptoms that I've mentioned a couple times, like the gas, the bloating, the indigestion, etc. Lucky for you, I'm going to give you a roadmap to make food combining part of your life. And who better to give you that roadmap than Gil Jacobs? Whether you're a beginner or you've dabbled in food combining, he's going to tell you how to begin or how to level up. In the description of this episode, you'll also find a food combining chart that I created, which you can also find on my Combined Community Patreon, also linked in the show notes. As always, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat from your gut health bestie.
Beginner, fruit in the morning, salad, grain, cooked veggie or potato yam at lunch, salad, cooked veggie, animal protein in the evening. Step 2, you do juice in the morning, avocado salad, lunch, heavier dinner. Step 3 is juice, fruits, heavier dinner. And then once you're really in, if you choose to want to, I recommend this for people once you cross 50, you try to graduate to a 1 meal a day game where you're doing juice all day, 1 meal, 5 or 6 o'clock, call it a day. That takes a few years of being in the game before you play that game.